Greetings, ladies and melodians, and welcome to this latest edition of Read TFOS, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called The Remembered, written by LgFatherAnthrocite.
You don't think it can be true, do you? They really don't know why they're there.
Look, I wouldn't even begin to guess what they know. They live in their whole life in a cage they never even knew exist. If they are lucky, they never find out. If we are lucky.
It just seems wrong. I mean, who would think that this is okay?
Do you understand what one of those things could do? Just one? If this wasn't an absolute last-ditch effort, you and I wouldn't even know this place exists. It would be another rumor of the nets. If we weren't on the edge of annihilation, the existence of this place would still be a secret buried so deep, you would need a planetary core tap just to get started. It took an act of galactic government to discuss this as an option. God only knows how many died before they even thought of this.
It just seems wrong.
It is, but it's the only way the universe gets to sleep peacefully.
I mean, couldn't we?
No, for Grell's sake, shut up. This is hard enough as it is. Let me pilot in peace, will you?
Steve was walking home from a party at Dave's place.
Dave had turned 22 and was throwing a rager while his folks were out of town. Steve had been drinking since about noon and was tired. He decided to take a shortcut through the grazing field and hopped the fence. This was a dark, moonless night, and with only the stars to see by, Steve was wondering if he was off course. He felt a stiff breeze, which felt good. He leaned back and breathed deeply. When he opened his eyes, the stars were gone. Overhead was only blackness. Steve was wondering what happened when the stun round hit him. He was out like a light.
Grell, he's so heavy. He looks like he should weigh a few bonds, but he's more like 50 bonds.
The gravity here is ridiculous. If you weren't wearing an exosuit, it would crush you to death in about 3 microcycles. He probably actually weighs around 75 bonds, and it's all dense muscle tissue and bone. No hydrobladders, no pneumatic systems. It's all mechanical action. Its limbs are so strong, the body has a natural inhibitor to prevent it from ripping itself apart. If this thing flexed a limb and hit you, you would be lucky to survive.
What? Who told you that?
Look, I know we're both condemned prisoners, and you don't really care about what happens to you. But I, for one, would like to live as long as possible. So read the briefing. Jeez, man. You were in the military before you deserted. You should understand the importance of intel.
Sorry, I'm just nervous. What happens if it wakes up?
Pray to Grell that it stays out the whole flight. You finish strapping it in, use the chains. I don't care how heavy they are, use them. I'm going to turn this bucket around and get us to target. I'd rather go back to the front lines than stay on a ship with this thing any more than I have to. Steve woke up and everything hurt. His head was pounding, and he had what felt like a pound of cotton in his mouth, but it was actually his tongue. He tried to rub his eyes, but his hand stopped short. He blinked a few times. Where was he? What was going on? Steve cleared his eyes by ducking his head to one side and rubbing them with one hand. Once he got his eyes open, he saw that he was in a white room, and his arms and legs were bound by what looked like thin chains to the floor. He appeared to be wearing some sort of bodysuit. He sat up and looked around. There was no door, no lights. Even the chains just sort of emerged from the floor. Light emanated from every surface. Hello? Can I get some water, please? Maybe some aspirin? He called. After several seconds, a small opening seemed to appear in the floor, and a small stand rose out of it. A small spigot began streaming water, which drained from the top of the stand. Steve bent down and drank water for nearly a full minute. When he sat back, the stand sunk down into the floor, disappearing without a trace. He couldn't even feel a seam on the floor where it opened. Can someone tell me what's going on? Anyone? Hello? What's with the chains? He pulled at these, and they rattled a little. Anybody? Hello?
Please calm yourself. All will be explained,
a voice said behind him. Steve turned and looked at some sort of nightmare made flesh. It looked like an unholy union of a crabtopus and a polar bear. Steve scurried back as fast and as far as the chains would allow. Jesus, feck! What the feck? What are you? Steve was pulling at the chains, trying to put more distance between him and the thing that would forever haunt his nightmares. What's going on? Did someone drug me? Am I hallucinating? He pulled the chains as hard as he could.
Please, stop. You'll break the chains and yourself. Be calm. I mean you no harm. The chains are to protect me. Your kind are known to be stronger than any known species, and one stray gesture from you could leave me incapacitated, if not dead. I assure you, I mean you no harm. Be calm.
The thing waved a third tentaclaw at him. Steve kept pulling at the chains for a moment, but the creature came no closer. What's going on? Why am I here? He asked, still as far away as the chains would allow.
We require your aid. I am Renathaxel. I represent the Spiral Arm Coalition. We are a collective of nearly every known intelligent species in the sickness arm of the galaxy. We are a peaceful group. We have been watching your people for a very long time. We would not normally consider contacting your people, but an emergency has arisen. Invaders from the Scootin' Crux arm are threatening our people. Invaders we will be ill-equipped to deal with.
What can I do? I'm just one guy. I'm sure you have lasers and photon torpedoes and stuff. How could I possibly help? Steve was caught between confusion and panic. He started to breathe deeply, trying to calm himself down. Maybe Dave had slipped something into his beer. It would be just like Dave to dose him with acid or something. He was a friend, but he could be a real asshat sometimes.
Well pleased. You do not know. You really have no clue, do you?
The creature said. No what? I don't know anything. I'm just a farmhand. I barely made it through high school.
Your people, humans, they are the greatest weapon in the history of the galaxy. They were bred over thousands of generations to be unstoppable warriors. Your planet's history contains more bloodshed and war than all of the galaxy. You are the embodiment of destruction. Were it not for the force field between us, the very illuvia of your body would infect and destroy mine in mere days. I would not even be in this room if I were not a condemned criminal. That is how likely it is that you will kill me. Not even intentionally. Those chains you pull at are some of the densest and strongest we make. There is simply no need for anything stronger. And yet, you have nearly broken them twice. As I said, we are a peaceful coalition. We have brought you here to fulfill your purpose. Before we could do that, we felt we had need to explain. You are our champion. We felt that you should know. I'm afraid that you will not be going home. I'm sorry.
What do you mean I won't be going home? Where will I be? Steve began pulling at the chains again. Where am I going? Where? He started to panic. This time, one of the chains snapped. Steve began pulling at the other side. What's happening? Answer me.
We are headed to the main outpost of the Crux invaders. When we arrive, the ship will be boarded, and I, along with my crewmate, will most likely be killed right away. You, on the other hand, will prove difficult for the enemy to even injure. On behalf of the Spiral Arm, allow me to apologize and offer thanks. You will save an unknowing civilization. Never know the glory of your heroic deeds deserve. The creature bowed low.
At least that's what Steve thought it was doing. Another opening appeared in the floor, and this time a rifle came through the floor. A 2-2 with a stack of ammo and a small sack.
The weapon is loaded. It was the lowest power that we could find, but have no fear, it is powerful enough to kill anything you might encounter. That suit will provide protection against shock rounds and the like. We are landing. I would ready myself if I were you.
The chains fell away, and Steve grabbed the gun, checked the breech to see if chambered round. He took the ammo and stuck it in a small sack that was under the pile. He pointed the gun at the creature on the other side of the room, but it was already walking out the opening it had come in through. He took the last box of rounds, dumped them into a pocket, and followed the creature out.
This is going to make me ill, said the Imperator.
One being did this, said the witness. All around them lay bodies of Crux invaders. They were all in some sort of disarray. The lucky ones were pierced with a small hole, which seemed to have liquefied the majority of their internals, killing them instantly. Others were covered in lesions, blisters, leaking fluids from their orifices and seeping waste from everywhere. They found the human clutching a twisted hunk of metal and wood, surrounded by torn and tattered remains of hundreds upon hundreds of corpses. He was barely breathing when found. The air was too high in chlorine for his kind, and he was dying, but not dead yet. He sat, panting, as the witness approached. The Coalition had demanded that the creature they sent would die, unknown even to its friendly forces. But if I, without honor, was true and just, the witness would bear the memory of what transpired and pass the knowledge along when his time came. The witness knelt next to the dying man, its exosuit wearing softly. "Human, tell me your name." Name is Stephen. Stephen, know this. I will remember your service. Your name will pass down through history amongst the witnesses. Stephen will be remembered alongside all heroes of Earth. Urkel, Ezekiel, Panos, Helen, Ramirez, Osama, Ahmadi, and Stephen. You have saved us again. Go now. Rest. The man closed his eyes, and his chest stopped moving. He would long be remembered. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.